be. We definitely have a very special segment for everyone. I have special guest here. Right off the bat, he's not a guest. He's my right-hand man. D, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey guys, thank you for watching. Damon here. You guys usually see me with Davin on our other videos, but today we have the pleasure to have two other guests on our show, and believe me, we are very happy to have these guys, and we encourage anybody else that wants to join, please join.
Perfect. The first guest that I want to go ahead and introduce, he's been a guy that I've have done a couple of shows with. He goes by YoungJ00. Go ahead and introduce yourself, sir.
Yes, hello everyone. I want to thank them again for having me on this show. You guys are always awesome. Thank you guys again. As everyone knows me, I'm Joe from Long Beach. I do a podcast with Tyson Roush, who's an NY CBS sports writer, called Let's Talk Jets. We're on every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Call in. You can write me on my YouTube page as well, YoungJ00. Give you directions to all that. You can also follow me on Twitter at YoungJ000. Tweet me, friend me, follow me, and we can talk there too. Please check out the podcast when you can, and also check out my videos, man. Thank you.
Perfect. And then the last person I have to say is, I've been wanting to get this guy on here for a while. He's the only guy that represents the TTC with the New York Jets. If anybody doesn't know anything about the TTC, basically it's about we just trash talk each other all the time. I definitely don't want to join it just because I don't want to be cursed at and taking personal shots. So right off the bat, Rock Chalk to the grave. Go ahead and introduce yourself, sir.
All right. How's it going, viewers? First time on the show, so it's a pleasure. Want to thank you guys for watching, of course. But I don't have a podcast like John does and all that. Like most of you guys just know me on YouTube as Rock Chalk to the grave. But you can follow me on Twitter at KU fan from New Jersey, or KU fan from NJ. So that's where I talk most of the time, outside of just on YouTube. But other than that, thank you guys for having me on the show. Your channel's growing pretty well, and hope the viewers enjoy.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely, guys. If you're interested in almost everything there is in New York sports, definitely subscribe, comment, and leave us your thoughts. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to dedicate this entire show to our New York Jets. First thing first, we want to talk about the NFL draft. Right before I go ahead and start and ask you guys what you guys want us to draft in first, second, and third round, I want you to tell me where you find vacant spots in the team as of right now. Rock Chalk, I'm going to go ahead with you.
All right. Right away I look at quarterback. We got to improve at quarterback. Me personally, I'm not a big fan of Marcus Mariota, but I'm starting to like Jameis more and more every day.
Really?
If we go like all out for him, I'd actually like it a lot, because I look at, you guys will probably laugh, but I look at Jameis as like a lot like Big Ben. He wins. He's big. He doesn't have an arm like Big Ben, but he can still throw the ball. So if we were to go up and get him, I'd be very happy with that. But I'm not a big fan of Marcus just because I believe he's not NFL ready. So I do believe that we have an issue at quarterback. But I also look at wide receiver, pass rusher, and we saw our GM. He's definitely looking to get a pass rusher. So I think that's definitely a big need.
Gotcha. John, go ahead.
My thing is offensive line. I think that we need offensive linemen. Brino Giacomini, to me, is average. He's an average tackle. He gets beat by average speed rushers. I think we also need a pass rusher. And I also think you can kind of look at possibly looking at a linebacker as well. Our linebacker core is a little thin. I mean, David Harris is a great linebacker. We just re-signed him. But he's long at the tooth. He's getting a little old. So we can look at those three spots and kind of, I think that the draft would benefit, or we would benefit from drafting in those positions.
Gotcha. Okay, D, go ahead.
Well, guys, from outside looking in,
please give me the outside from looking in.
From outside looking in, you guys definitely, you're definitely going to need a quarterback. I mean, that's no question asking my mind. Definitely offensive tackle, and a mixture of probably a wide receiver and a tight end. Also would be helpful to you guys.
Gotcha. Okay, right off the bat, this is what I think. At first, and Young J00 can say this. At first, I wanted a wide receiver. When him and I did the show, he did say something about going right off the bat and making the first round offensive line. I didn't agree with it at first. That was my mindset 2 months ago. Right now, I do think our offensive line. I'm willing to go offensive line first round to be able to attain that. There's a couple of guys that strike me. I got Andrew Speed from Stanford. Was it DJ Humphrey from Iowa that you wanted?
Brandon Sheriff is who I actually wanted.
Humphrey's from Florida.
Yeah, Humphrey's from Florida.
Sheriff is going to the Giants at 9.
He might. Can I break it in? But I think that we can go offensive line later in the draft. I don't think we're forced to go offensive line in the first round. That's what I don't think.
Yeah.
I think that to Rock Chalk's point is that I think that Mariota might slip if he gets past the Titans, which I highly doubt, because the Chargers might trade into that spot too because of Phillip Rivers. He might not want to go to LA with them or whatever happens with that. Either way, I don't know if he slides to us. And if he does slide to us, he's not NFL ready. He's not going to start his first year. I'm not big on Geno, but I'm not so down on him that I'm willing to trade or that I wouldn't field calls for Marcus Mariota. Because you got to think, if Mariota's there at 6, Chip Kelly is going to be calling, and the Browns are going to be calling.
And the Browns might give us both their picks. That's what I'm thinking.
Exactly, Chalk. And that's where I'm thinking, too. They can give us 2 first-round picks.
Yep.
2 first-round picks, you can have him because he's not going to start this year anyway. Or if Chip Kelly calls up, guess who he's got? Sam Bradford. If we can get Sam Bradford and maybe a first-rounder or maybe an early second-rounder or something decent from them, Sam Bradford and picks, Sam can come in and compete not just with Geno but Fitzpatrick, and then we can take those picks and still address needs on this team. So. Yep. I just don't. I think there's so many options for us, but to me, going quarterback, even trading up for Jameis Winston, I think that's gonna cost way too much, and I think Jameis is crazy.
Here's one. That's where I kind of agree. To be honest with you, I think Jameis Winston in New York will get dissected in every shape, form. You know it. I mean, that guy will get bashed on a day-to-day basis. And you guys know me. I'm not too fond of mobile quarterbacks. Here's the way I want to approach the situation: is if I were to draft a quarterback, maybe in the later rounds, 3rd round, try to get someone. And then
I agree with that.
I don't want Geno Smith whatsoever. I want us to go with the Ryan Fitzpatrick direction, but obviously they're going to be able to battle it out in camp. Here's the thing: I want us to fill up all the holes this year, so maybe next year we can invest into a quarterback. That's the way I want to approach it. I want a small fix, and then go in the long run and be able to fix the quarterback position. Here's the one area that you guys might not agree with me. In the earlier rounds, I do want to go get a running back. What do you guys think? Rock Chalk?
I actually agree, to be honest. I actually agree. Wait, you're not talking like round 1, right?
No, I'm talking about maybe
trade down.
Round 2 or 3. 2 is kind of pushing it, but maybe, you know what I mean, like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Somewhere there.
Because McShay had us taking Todd Gurley at the 6th pick.
I know.
Which I don't get. Yeah, that's why I was wondering. But I do like Duke Johnson in round 2. Even in round 2, I'd grab Duke Johnson.
Yeah.
He's a guy that I really like, and I do like T.J. Yeldon as well. Even though he's more of a between the tackles guy like Ridley, he can still catch the ball out of the backfield. I remember against LSU, they were down 3 or 4, and they threw him a screen pass. He took it 25, 30 yards into the house, and that kept Alabama alive for a BCS title, and he kind of saved their season.
Here's what I see is, if we don't have a quarterback right now to be able to throw it to what I consider a pretty decent / strong wide receiving core with us acquiring Brandon Marshall, then if you're not able to throw the ball to your wide receivers, how would you get it done? Would it be the running game? Because Chris Ivory to me did have a pretty decent year, but I just don't consider him to be my go-to franchise running back.
That's when we could go line. If our approach is to stick with the run game a little bit and maybe not address quarterback this year, we do have to get an offensive lineman somewhere in the draft, whether it's, round 2, round 3. I do think we need a guard because I really don't like Willie Colon. I thought that was another Band-Aid, job to re-sign him, but.
Yeah. Okay. John and D, I'm going to go with John first. Tell me what you think about, the running back position for the New York Jets.
I think the running back position is pretty much sealed up. That's why I don't think we'll draft one, because if you look at who we have Ivory, who's a starter. He's a solid starter. He's a guy that can catch the ball at the backfield. He can block. He can do everything you ask him to do. He's not a speed back, but that's not his forte. That is what it is. Then you got Ridley that we just signed. But you also have Bilal Powell, who's a guy that, he's versatile as well, guys that we're using. But another guy that nobody really talks about, that I don't even think a lot of people remember that we have, he's on the practice squad, is Richardson, the guy we got from the Rams, who looked extremely good in preseason last year. And the only reason he didn't, I think, make the team was because we went with Chris Johnson, because we thought we were going to get something out of Chris Johnson.
That was the worst thing that
that was one of the worst moves ever. So that was the worst
Tebow first, Chris Johnson, Geno Smith. D, tell me about the running back position.
No, I definitely agree with John. I mean, I think you guys are stacked on running backs right now, especially with having Stephen Ridley. He can catch the passes from from the backfield as well. He's a good blocker as well. I definitely think for right now you guys are set. I wouldn't pick a running back, at least in the next at least in the first 3 rounds. I mean, if there is something acceptable in a 4th or 5th round, then you will pick something. Otherwise, I think at this point you got enough to get you through.
Here's one thing I want to put out is I feel like we have a good wide receiving core, and I don't think we need to go out there and get Cooper and get White or any of those guys after getting Brandon Marshall. I know my brother and I spoke before we got on. He did say, who was your first round pick you picked, D?
Dude, I had, if you guys don't trade with Browns and keep your pick and Marcus Mariota fell to you guys, I have a feeling that they will pick him. But if it's not him, I think the Jets gonna go with Kevin White, wide receiver from West Virginia. You're thinking about if you think about him, you matching up him with Brandon Marshall and Decker, and with a decent quarterback, you're gonna have a killer offense. That's my thought process, that if they go and get a good wide receiver, they can have that killer offense that can compete with New England, that can compete with Buffalo. I'm not that high on Miami, but you can compete well against your teams in your division.
John, what do you think about that? You're shaking your head.
I don't understand. Yeah, I don't understand. Thank you. I don't understand why we have to go wide receiver in the first round. I don't understand why we have to get Kevin White. I think people, when they look at the Jets, they don't necessarily analyze our players. We got Curley, who's a monster in the slot. When he's involved in the offense, Marty Mornhinweg had no business, had no idea what to do with him. Okay. Then you got Marshall, you got Decker, who's a solidified number 2 wide receiver. He can be a number 2 wide receiver in this league. Marshall's going to be our number 1. But you know what our other weapon is that no one really talks about? Jace Amaru. This kid's got all the talent in the world to be a great tight end in this league. If you look at, he led all rookie tight ends in catches and yards last year, and he was barely used. He ran like 2 routes the entire damn season. If you figure out how to use this big weapon that we have, that is a matchup nightmare for everyone, that can do everything, guess what happens? He becomes another legitimate receiving threat. That's all he did in college. That's it. He split out wide half the time anyway. So here we have a receiving tight end that you can use in those situations. And not just that, I don't think we have to draft a receiver in the first round, because there's other receivers that are in later rounds in the second, like a Philip Dorsett, a Tyler Lockett, a McBride, that you can get in the second and the third rounds. That those guys fill holes that we need, because if you look at what we actually need, we need a speed wide receiver. We need a small, speedy guy to take the top off the defense. That's what we've always needed for these last couple of years, and these things we lack. We lack speeded wide receivers.
Remembering Wayne Corbett when you said that.
Yeah, he was. so that's where.
Go ahead. Rockchalk, do you have anything to add on to that, or?
Well, I kind of agree with John. I mean, Of course, I love Amari Cooper. I think Amari Cooper's great. He can play inside and outside. I mean, he's very versatile. But if we're gonna keep that pick, if we're gonna keep the 6th pick, I think we got to take a pass rusher. I think that would suit us best. Not necessarily, like Shane Ray. I think if we trade down with Cleveland, we could get Shane Ray at the 12th pick or Dupree. But I do think that Vic Beasley or Fowler will be there at pick 6, and I think those are 2 solid pass rushers that we could grab.
My honest opinion, though, is if we go out there and try to go get Mariota, that I don't think is proven, would be another. I would truly consider it a dumb mistake by the Jets. But that's why I feel so good with having Mike McCarthy as my general manager. I don't feel like he's going to make those bonehead decisions, and I really mean it that way. Just because we always tend to go toward what mainstream wants us to do in the draft league, and we've done that, the past few years. I do have a comment from one of the audiences that's watching, and I'd like to go ahead and ask that right away. The question is, do we draft Bryce Petty in the 4th round? Would that be a risk that the Jets would be willing to take? What do you guys think of that? I'll start off with Rock Chalk.
Well, I think Bryce Petty's a 2nd-round pick. And I know Chris Sims. I listened to the Team Stream, Bleacher Report Team Stream app, and Chris Sims does all his videos. He does it for every team. He has Bryce Petty going in the 1st round, the late 1st round. Like he really loves Bryce Petty, and I kind of do as well. He played in the spread offense in Baylor, and I think he'd be a good fit here. But I'm not sure if we want to take him in the 2nd round, unless, of course, we trade back with Cleveland and we get 2 picks before our 2nd-round pick. But I'm kind of on board with you. What's your name again? I forgot.
What is it?
No, what's your name again? I forgot.
No, that's right. Devine from Nick Post TV. Woo!
I'm kind of on board.
Now you got the Ric Flair thing going. Now you remember.
Yeah. I'm kind of on board with Devine. If we're not, I'm a big Jameis Winston fan, like I said, so if we don't go up and get him, I think we got to fill in, the needs before quarterback, before we go and get one. And that's, of course, if we don't get Jameis Winston.
John?
Yeah, I agree with Rock. I think that I think that Bryce Petty is a guy that probably is going to go in the 2nd round. I think that he's a guy that Bryce, Grayson, even Humphreys, even those guys. These are all guys that are going to have to sit for a year. Okay, like Bryce showed a lot during his pro day. He showed a lot, at least to me. That was one of the things that really boosted him up in my in my ranking as far as the QBs, was he really showed out during his pro day. But these are still guys that are going to have to sit behind someone for a year, maybe even 2 years, and learn the game from the bench. So taking Bryce in the 2nd, in the 4th, if he lasts in the 4th, sure, that's a steal pick. But you got to look at that guy. He's going to sit on that bench for at least a year or 2 years.
Yeah. D, go ahead. Tell me what you think about Bryce.
Yeah, I definitely agree with both of these guys. There's no way, in my opinion, that Bryce Petty is gonna make it to the 4th round. I think he'll be picked in the 2nd round, the latest, if it's not 1st. But if you get him in the 4th round, I consider that to be a steal. But the chances for him to fall to the 4th round is absolutely 0. But if he does, then I would take that as a steal.
Gotcha. Next topic that I want to talk about is kind of getting off the draft. Do you guys want to still continue with the draft? Is there anything you guys want to add on before I move a little slightly away from the topic?
We can still talk about it. There's a lot to talk about, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
Sure.
We should go at least 2nd round and 3rd round pick. And kind of discuss that before we move on.
Yeah. Okay. So what I'll do is you guys can go tell me who you want for 1st, 2nd, and 3rd round, and we'll kind of go from there. Rock Chalk, you go first.
All right. My dream draft would probably be getting Jameis, and then I assume we wouldn't have our 2nd round pick after that. But 3rd round, I think you grab a guard, and definitely protect Jameis. Like I said, I'm not sold on Willie Colon. I don't like those Band-Aid signings, especially on the offensive line, because that's the kind of you got to fill your offensive line long term. If you're gonna go get a guy, you sign him long term, because you see all the teams on their schedule, like Oakland on the road. Like, you lose games like that because you get sacked 6, 7, 8 times. Like, you gotta be able to block, each and every week, and you gotta have long-term guys on that line. So if we go out and get Jameis, I think you get someone in the 3rd round, probably an offensive lineman, guard, even a tackle. But realistically, if we keep the pick, I'd say we get Fowler or Beasley, and then maybe in the 2nd round grab a Philip Dorsett or a is that Dorsett's on Kansas State, right?
Miami.
Who's the Kansas State wide receiver?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
John, do you know who that is? The guy in Kansas State?
The Kansas State guy. I can't think of him right now.
I'm gonna have to look him up, but you can. I don't know who it is, to be honest.
Well, who's the guy that John just named? I forgot.
Oh, you talking about Tyler? Are you talking about Tyler Lockett?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he go to Kansas State? I'm trying to think.
Yeah. Tyler Lockett. You're right. Tyler Lockett. It just hit me. Tyler Lockett. Yes, he did go to Kansas State. You're talking about Tyler Lockett.
Yeah. So realistic draft, I'd say Fowler, Beasley, and then Lockett or Dorsett, and then in round 3, I like Trey Jackson, the guard out of Florida State. I think that's the round to grab a guard. Hopefully, we don't get another Brian Winters in the 3rd round.
Yeah.
But definitely, I think 3rd round's a good place to get a guard.
What made you grow on the Jameis Winston? And what's the idea behind it? What do you think? How do you think you can succeed in New York? Just out of curiosity.
I don't know. I think that when we got Geno, he kind of showed confidence. I mean, he fired his agent. Like, he kind of came out like he had a chip on his shoulder. But then you see on the field, he has no confidence. I mean, he's looking left and right. Like, he doesn't know what he's like doing at some points on the field. But Jameis, I feel like he's always confident. And I feel like he'd laugh off some of the stuff that the media has to say. And I feel like, I don't know, I think even he's a wise guy off the field. I get that. But I feel like when it comes to the media, he'd laugh off some of the stuff. And, I mean, he may come across as dumb, but I think he's a pretty smart guy on the field. He knows what he's doing, and he wins games. I mean, we need a winner. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. John, go ahead on your 1st, 2nd, and 3rd round.
Okay, my first round pick. If we're sitting there at 6, there's 2 scenarios that can happen. Like I said, if Mariota slides down, if Mariota does not slide down, if there's a possibility you can trade out of that pick, I wouldn't have any problem trading out of it. But if we have to make a pick, and it's going to be Vic Beasley. Vic Beasley is the guy that I think is going to be there at 6, and if he's there and we get him, that pretty much shores up what we need as a pass rusher. Okay, so that's just off the top for me. It's like, boom, we can get Vic Beasley 2nd round. We go A.J. Cann. I think A.J. Cann is exactly what we need on our offensive line. With Willie Colon is not the guy that I think is going to start. Well, I know he's not going to start. He's just the guy that got re-signed just to have a veteran presence and a body there. James Carpenter, the guy we actually traded, or the guy we got that was from the Seahawks, the guy we signed, he's going to be at that left guard spot. You can have, DeBrickashaw Ferguson, James Carpenter, Nick Mangold, possibly A.J. Cann, and then you could either, or maybe even Oday Aboushi, and you might be able to kick A.J. Cann outside, might be able to kick him out the tackle. So it depends on how that works. But A.J. Cann is definitely going to be my 2nd round pick. And my 3rd round pick, I'll probably go Taylor Lockett or Trey McBride. As far as wide receiver, just to help us out in our slot and our kick returns and things like that.
Dee, go ahead.
Hey guys, well, 1st round pick. If you guys don't slide down, I'll go with Marcus Mariota, and also as a backup, I will go if you guys don't pick Marcus Mariota, I will pick Dupree as a backup. 2nd round pick, I got actually 3 different players for you guys. I got Cedric Ogbuehi, which is an offensive tackle. Yeah, offensive tackle from Texas A&M, which I think he'd be good at the right tackle. Also, he could be a long replacement for Ferguson. Since he's kind of 30 plus, maybe down the road he could be replacing him. Also, second, still in the second round, I still have Philip Dorsett. If you guys don't go with Cedric, Philip Dorsett could be a good pick. And also, I have a wild card in that second round pick for you guys. A quarterback named Brett Hundley from UCLA.
No.
So if you don't go quarterback the first round and pick Mariota, I think Brett Hundley is going to be a good pick in the second round. So, keep that in your pocket for later on. And on your third round pick, I have only one name, and that would be Clive Walford, tight end. You never have enough tight ends, especially if you can't pair two good tight ends like Amaro and then Clive Walford. Something like a combination like the New England had, like Hernandez and Gronkowski. So that's the direction I'm thinking about. But you never know.
Well, it seemed like Hernandez was more on the sideline, committing 187. And so, yeah, that's my take. So here we go. I want to talk about a topic that I brought up in one of my videos. It had a couple of mixed reviews. Different people thought different things about it. I want Muhammad Wilkerson back. I want to re-sign him. I like Muhammad Wilkerson. Here's the thing. If we don't re-sign Muhammad Wilkerson, if we decide to trade him or do something like that, my first-round pick right off the bat is going to be Leonard Williams from USC. I'm sorry. I want my defensive rushes. I want that pressure. That's only if we don't get Muhammad Wilkerson. But my goal is to re-sign Muhammad Wilkerson. I know there was a gentleman, I forgot what his name was. He had an entirely different scenario for the New York Jets, but I'm going to have Ronkshaw go ahead and talk about that. Should we re-sign Muhammad Wilkerson, or should we just let him walk?
Well, I was actually watching Jets Nation, and they were actually talking about that. That was, I think the most recent episode, and they were talking about that. And they said that, let's not forget, he only had 5.5 sacks last year. Of course, that's because our corners sucked, and he didn't get enough time to get after the quarterback because, the quarterback had the ball out of his hand so quick. Right. So I think you got to go out and you got to let him prove himself another year and have a monster year. With the corners that we have out there now, we'll be able to lock up receivers, and I think he could rack up close to 15 sacks this year if we let him work for it. And then, once we let him work for it, we could lock him up on a 6-7 year deal, and he'd be willing to come back, especially with how much sacks he'll be able to get. He's going to like the defense, I think.
Yeah. John?
Oh, man, I tell you, I think that people really underrate Muhammad Wilkerson, and I think that when people say, like Rockchalk said, we should make him work for it. Listen, he's not resigned because we made the mistake not resigning him. He's not resigned because what we're offering him, he knows for a fact he can get way more than that on the open market. Muhammad Wilkerson is a top 5 defensive end in this league. Just because he doesn't get a bunch of sacks and things like that, you can see. Look at the stuff that he does in the run game when he's shedding like 2 offensive linemen and just pushing tackles like it's nothing. If Muhammad Wilkerson is not on this line, you will see an effect to this team. You will see us get ran on. You will see us have trouble, in the run game. Getting the guy that Nick talked about in the draft, getting Williams is a lot easier said than done. That kid's going to go early. He's probably going to be a top 3 pick. So to get him, you're going to have to move up. That's going to cost you. The fact is that we screwed the pooch by not re-signing Muhammad when we had the chance. We screwed the pooch by not getting the deal done. So now it's a waiting game between him and us, and that's it. Saying you're just going to lock him up for a 6 or 7 year deal, not that easy. You can go anywhere and get that money. So do we let him walk? Absolutely not. But I think he'll end up walking anyway, or might end up testing free agency because we didn't get the deal done. We need to seal that deal as quickly as possible. We spent way too much money this offseason, way too much on a bunch of free agents, and we did not get the job done yet again with Muhammad Wilkerson. So go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, I think what's going to happen is that I expect him to have a great year this year, and then after the year, I think Maccagnan's going to throw half our cap for next year at him. He's going to throw in the house, and I think we'd be able to lock him up.
But if you look at our cap for next year, this is not like
we're not going to have a lot, but
we're not going to have a lot. We're not going to be strapped. We're not going to be dead broke like in the negs, but we're definitely not going to have enough money to get him compared to what other teams could throw on him, like the Raiders, Tampa might actually be in that conversation next year too. There's going to be a lot of teams next year with a lot more cap room than us that can spend a lot more money on him.
Yeah,
So
guys, I mean,
it is what it is.
Go ahead.
definitely, John. I mean, I agree with you. I mean, this is one player that you do not tick off, because if you do not give him the deal that he deserves now, when is the time comes next year, he is not going to re-sign with you, even if you give him a little bit more money than other teams do, just to prove a point to you and to your team, just because being disrespected, by not being signed long term when it was time. So, in my opinion, they should get it done before it's too late, or they will watch him walk out, and that'd be a really, really sad day, because Jets really have an excellent player in Muhammad Wilkerson, and that's no question asked. And like John said, one of the top 5 defensive tackles. So there's no question asked.
Before I want to get into this, there's a couple of comments I left, and I want to respond to them. Night of the Shield, I'm a big fan of his. He kind of going back to the speed wide receiver. He said speed wide receiver Devin Smith in round 2 would be.
I like him too. I like Devin Smith as well. I should have mentioned him. You just slipped my mind right now.
Yeah.
He was good at Ohio State. I like Deshaun Jackson.
Yep. And then kind of going back to the Muhammad Wilkerson thing real fast. I did want to mention, I think if we don't re-sign him, it's going to turn out to be the same thing that happened with Darrelle Revis. Here's the thing, guys. We should have already been in a position where we already should have had Revis. Revis should have never won a Super Bowl with the Patriots. We should have already had Cromartie on our team. We regressed with John Idzik. I think we can all agree with that. Now we had Mike McKagan. The signings that we've had with Revis and Cromartie, I'm like, so what? We should have already had that. I know it sounds stupid and selfish, but
I agree.
To me, right now, we should be worried about, looking at that middle linebacker. I mean, our pinpoints to fix this team should be so small, but obviously it wasn't. So I really think we should sign Muhammad Wilkerson. There's a couple of other questions I want to get to real fast. Sorry. They're talking about D. Milliner. Should we give him another chance going into next season? John, go ahead.
Absolutely. I don't see why. I don't even think it's a question of should you give him another chance. Listen, this guy's on a rookie deal. Regardless of whether he can stay healthy or not, that's not a point. He's cheap, and when he is healthy, he's a really good corner. Like, people don't even throw the ball over there to test him. He's so good. So the fact that our backfield can be that deep in our rotation, our corner rotation, to be that deep, you don't get rid of D. Milliner. You keep him on the roster and you make him play. That's it. There's no questions asked about that in my mind.
Yep. Rock Chalk?
I definitely agree. I think we got to let him play. I mean, I don't expect Cromartie to stay healthy. He's always had that hip problem. I know he says it's in the past, but I think he's going to wind up, getting banged up for a few games at least. And he's also lost some speed. So I think Milliner is definitely going to get rotated in. I think he deserves a chance. But I actually wrote an article. I'll send you guys the link, after this. But Milliner, I mean, teams are going to lose corners to injuries, in the offseason. If a team offers us a very high pick for Milliner, because there's talks that we were going to trade him. If a team offers us a very, very high pick, I think we give them Milliner for the high pick, because teams are going to be desperate. They're going to need a corner going into next season. And if they're going to throw a lot at us because they need a corner that badly, I think we give them Milliner, because we have 3 other corners right now. But, of course, we should rotate him in this year, definitely.
D. Milliner, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, Milliner, young player. I mean, deserve another chance, and I think he's gonna come out good. I mean, put him in the rotation and let him play and let him show his abilities. I think he'll be a great cornerback. And like Ryan said, if somebody comes and offer you a really high pick, why not? I mean, you have good cornerbacks right now. You can afford trading him or giving him up for a very high pick, and it will make sense. But definitely, you should put him in a rotation, let him play, and let him show his abilities, and actually raise his trademark if something comes up.
Yeah, I really think the kid's got talent. We went ahead and drafted him. Let's give him a chance. I mean, who can't learn under Revis or Cromartie? I mean, those guys are definitely guys you could learn from and be able to grow. So next topic is basically going to be the comments Rex Ryan has made toward the New York Jets. I'll be honest with you, it was probably one of the toughest things I had to sit through when Rex Ryan got fired. You love the guy. kind of hated the guy just because sometimes he just can't close his mouth. You know, the circus got too much for the Tebow days. So when he came out and, you know, called us out, basically called out Amaro on certain things, Amaro came out and stated, you know, the team was late on occasion or he didn't hold the team accountable. What do you guys think about Rex Ryan taking shots at the New York Jets? You know, how eager are you to wait to watch the Buffalo Bills game next season? Go ahead, Ron.
Man, I loved. I
can't wait
loved
to see
Rex.
you on TTC right now.
I loved Rex, but I already hate him now, and it's sad. I mean, I was a big Rex fan. Even though he ran his mouth, it got me pumped up. But now, I mean, he's coming after us. It's sad to see, but I have to, you know, change my whole perspective on it now. I don't like him anymore. I hate him, actually.
All due credit given to Rex Ryan, he did technically kind of put us back on the map with the 2011 teams and things like that. I mean, he made us relevant again in the media. I'm not going to say that's a good thing. Obviously, on occasion, it was a bad thing. But, yeah, it pains me to see him, you know, in the Buffalo Bills camp, put on that red and blue tie looking like the next president, you know, like.
Yeah.
But, you know, yeah. John, what do you think?
I think the comments are just Rex being Rex. Like that, I don't. I mean, what do you want out of the guy? Like, what do you expect him to say? Like, he's not. I mean, he coached. You know, he was here. We see how he is. We see how he talks. You know, of course, he's doing that just for bulletin board material. That's all he is. Because there were other guys that came out and said the exact same thing that Jay said, and he didn't say anything to them. Like Demario Davis came out and said that there was a lack of leadership and accountability in the locker room. A couple of our offensive linemen had come out and said it. Willie Colon actually backed up what Jason Maru said. He said nothing about those veteran players, but he came after Jason Maru. It's just Rex being Rex. I think a lot of people, and it may be New York media, some of it may be our fan base, where, you know, a lot of people try to make a story out of stuff that, I mean, to me, in my mind, isn't a story, because these are the type of thing that Rex has always said. Anytime that anyone ever comes after Rex, he's always going to go on the defensive and say, you know, they're trying to attack me and we can't wait to play those guys. That's just how he's just trying to get Buffalo fired up. So when they play us, you know, he's going to put this up as bulletin board material. Here's how they tried to assassinate my character. They think I'm garbage, so they think you guys are garbage. Let's go out there and kill them. Like, that's just Rex being Rex. My whole deal is that I don't want to feed into it, and I think that if you look at our change of front office, it really shows that while Rex is over there talking with the Bills, we're in Florham Park, just minding our business, doing our draft work, and getting the job done.
That's exactly what I wanted,
yeah, we're just being quiet about it. You want to yap over there with the Bills, that's fine. Keep on yapping. Todd Bowles hasn't said anything. He's just implementing his game plans, getting his players ready, you know, to play whoever, not just the Bills, to play whoever.
Go shovel 12 inches of snow off your lawn there. Right?
yeah, so, you know, it's just Rex being Rex, man. I'm not feeding into it. I'm glad that no one else on the team is feeding into it either. We're not getting into this big back and forth with him to make this, you know, so guys can write stories about it. It's just like, I don't know. You just gotta move on. Let him yap over there, and then when we play him, you know, get the job done.
G, go ahead.
Hey, man, I mean, I definitely agree with John. I mean, Rex being Rex, man, what else you expect? I mean, if he doesn't say that it's not Rex, you'd be surprised. You know, you'd be like, something wrong with the guy, because that's his, you know, forte. He talks, you know, he has a big mouth, you know, he runs his mouth, he pumps up his team that way, and that's how he has been. I mean, even when he was, you know, with the Jets, there was always the, you know, talk about the Patriots, about the Belichick and Brady and stuff like that. And now he's with the Buffalo, and he's trying to pump his team against the Jets, and probably he does the same thing against the Patriots. That's the way he coaches, and that's his personality, and you can't expect anything else. And like John said, it's a good thing to see that Jets are not being pulled into this, you know, and not you know, getting too much into it, and just let it be what it is, and you go after your business, we go after our business, and we settle the score when it comes to play each other in the field.
Perfect. Hey, you guys ready to kind of get into the 2015 schedule?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
All right, let's go ahead and get started. Let me pull up the schedule here real fast. So Here we go. First game of the season, we will be playing the Cleveland Browns. I believe that's a home game. I'm going to start with Rock Chalk. Go ahead and tell me if this is going to be a win or loss, and we'll kind of go from there.
Well, we better win this game. I mean, not because it's the Browns, but it's because of what comes after that. You know, Colts, Eagles, Dolphins. It's murderer's row. I think that's the toughest part of our schedule. Even looking at the last 3 games, I think that the first 3 after the home opener against the Browns, those are your 3 toughest games. And if we don't beat the Browns, I'll say we're in trouble. But we always win at home, especially in the opener. I'm going to go with a win.
Yeah. Okay. No, right before I continue this, I know sometimes some people might think of this to be kind of silly, us right before the draft already predicting the games, but we're just approaching this with the acknowledgement of what we have so far and what the Cleveland Browns have and the rest of the NFL. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think Cleveland will be a win at home. Everyone's going to be all extra pumped up, and I think we're going to be able to make that a win. John?
Yeah, I think it should be a win. I mean, just looking at it now before the draft, I think we should beat the Cleveland Browns. I think they're a talented team, but I think we're just a little bit better. So, yeah, I definitely think we should beat the Cleveland Browns at home. Not by much, but we should definitely beat them.
Do we even know who might even start as a quarterback for the Cleveland Browns?
I don't think that Johnny's even in the. I mean, they can say that he's in the running, but I don't think that he is. I don't think that Johnny's in the running. I think that whoever they have competing there now, that's who's going to be there. But I don't think that Johnny's going to be there.
Gotcha. D, win or loss?
Well, first of all, I got you guys going 7-9 for the season, but I got you winning the first game. So definitely, you guys going to beat Browns at home, no question asked.
I wonder who you're going to pick when we play the Giants.
Oh,
All right, so here we go. Next game out of home. This one is definitely going to test out, our defensive backs. This one's really going to be a huge test to our defense overall. We're playing the Indianapolis Colts, Andrew Luck. It's going to come down to if we're able to put some pressure on him, be able to shut down their wide receivers. I will pick this as a loss for us. We're going to start off the season with a 1-1. Rock Chalk?
I feel like that this game is actually going to be a lot like the Packers game of last year. I think that we might come out, we might look, very good in front of the nation, but when it's all said and done, I think Luck is going to come back, and I feel like he's just going to throw on us. I mean, even with our defensive backs, I feel like he's just going to be able to, throw on us. Hilton, of course, is very fast, and of course Revis is very great, but we know that Revis struggles, especially on balls over the middle. Like he can't keep up with fast receivers over the middle, and that's what the Colts do. I know they got Moncrief. Of course, Andre Johnson's more of a vertical guy than over the middle, but Hilton will kill us over the middle. And I'm not so sure just yet. I know Antonio Allen's going to be back covering tight ends this year, where he belongs. That's what he does. But they have 2 good tight ends in Dwayne Allen and Kobe Fleener, and I'm not sure if we can handle both of them. So I think Luck will beat us in a sort of high-scoring game. But that's just my opinion right now. I mean,
yeah, it can definitely change, right, based on drafts and yada yada. Who's going to be able to start? No, I agree with you. John, go ahead.
I'm going to say that we win that game as well. I don't think it's going to be by much. I think it'll be surprising. I think Andrew Luck is great. We all know that. T.Y., I think gets shut down by Revis. I think Revis' technique is just crazy. T.Y. is a great wide receiver, but Revis has shown that he could absolutely shut down number 1 wide receivers like it's just the thing to do. I think that our cornerbacks, our rotations and things like that will end up helping out. I don't think that our safeties will necessarily be covering all the tight ends. I think that we'll kind of mix it up as far as defensively and have some of those corners of D. Milner, off and on, or Cromartie maybe even off and on covering a tight end as well, because they do have 2 very good tight ends in Fleener and the other tight ends they have there. But I think what it will come down to is turnovers. And I think if you look at the Colts, when they're forced to run the ball, Huron, their starting running back, he coughs it up. I mean, that boy coughs it up. And he fumbles a lot. So I think that's what it will come to. I don't think they'll necessarily be able to run on us at all, though. And I think that's where it's going to shut it down, because you're going to put everything on the shoulders of Andrew Luck. And he's a great quarterback, but when you got guys in your face, you got guys in your face, and that's it. And I think that's what happens. We get guys in his face, and I think on the flip side, we're going to be able to run the ball on them. And we're going to be able to do some things as well, throwing the ball. So I take us in a win. Not by much, but I take us in a win.
Gotcha. D?
Yeah, I take it as a loss, just for a couple of reasons. One, we know how good Andrew Luck is, and we know that Jets don't have a decent quarterback yet. And I don't know if the Jets can keep up with Andrew Luck and the Colts scoring. And Colts do have a decent defense. So, in my opinion, definitely that this game is going to be a loss for the Jets, but it's going to be close.
Do you think it's just going to be a high-scoring game, or?
It could be, but loss after all. It might be a high-scoring game, but after everything's said and done, Colts will be on top.
Can I say something really quickly?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure.
I think that when people talk about Andrew Luck, and don't get me wrong, he is great, but I think that people forget that he sometimes has a propensity to come out and throw like 4 interceptions.
Oh, yeah.
He does that all the time. He does it all the time. But he'll come out and throw early interceptions like crazy. And this is a game that I think I'm going to kind of turn into. It was a game last year they played with the Browns where Andrew was terrible. I mean, he was really, really bad. And he was throwing interceptions left and right. And it was Cleveland's offense that actually lost that game for them. So that's something I think that it's going to play out kind of like our game against them, where our defense is going to be all over him, and I think he will throw some turnovers or throw some interceptions early, and that will open the door for us, definitely.
Here's the thing: is Luck. He's not a pretty quarterback. I mean, he'll have some bad stats here or there. 2 TDs, 2 interceptions, but he's a 2-minute drill quarterback. And I think what it really comes down to is, who's going to turn the ball over more? Is it going to be Geno Smith / Ryan Fitzpatrick, or is it going to be Andrew Luck? So a third game, guys. We'll go ahead into that. Third game, we also have the Philadelphia Eagles at home. This one, quite honestly, I don't know what to make of this game because I don't know what to make of the Philadelphia Eagles right now. To be quite honest, Eagle fans, if you're watching this, you look like us 3-4 years ago when we had Sanchez and Tebow. It's just a hot mess. So with that being said, I'll take this as a win. Rock Chalk, I'm going to have you go ahead and talk about who's going to win it. I'm going to step out for like 2 minutes. I got to go get some water. I'll be right back.
All right. I definitely think that this game we should win. I mean, I don't like losing at home, especially to the Eagles. I mean, the Eagles, the place, there's going to be a lot of Eagles fans there. I know I'm a season ticket holder, so I can kind of assume what's going to happen. There's going to be a lot of Eagles fans there, and that's going to be a game I definitely want to win bad. But if we want to win that game, I think we're going to have to, run the ball. I know, of course, Maxwell. I mean, I don't really know what to expect out of him. He was a number 2 corner in Seattle. He's now the number 1 corner in Philly. I think Marshall can, pick him apart a little bit. But I do like the Eagles safeties. I think they still have Malcolm Jenkins, and I do think that they will draft Landon Collins. So I do like the Eagles safeties. We might have trouble, throwing the ball deep downfield, but I think Marshall will pick apart Maxwell, and I think we'll be able to run the ball on them and squeak out a win.
Okay, John?
Yeah, I think it's a win, but I think this is going to be really, really tight. They've done a couple of different things that I think are really good. Don't get me wrong. There's some decisions that Chip Kelly has made putting this team together that I'm still wondering about.
They're like college-like decisions. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like just there's some decisions where it was just like whoa. But I think the decision that really is going to impact them is getting Kiko Alonso. I think that's going to bolster their defense, and I think the people, when they look at the loss of Shady, it's just like, oh, all our offense is gone. It's not gone. They went and got, DeMarco. So it's like they have a solid running back. They have Sam Bradford, if he's still there. They still have some pieces, where they can do different things. And Chip Kelly's, I think, just really depending on his system to work. And so I think it's a win for us. So I got us starting off, 3-0, but I think it's a win for us. But again, I think it's a really tight, close win. I really do.
D, go ahead. Well, wait,
You
before
know-
we go get started, please give us your NFC East insight.
Yes, let me give it to you. As a Giants fan, you know I hate the Eagles, so I hope they lose.
You're
You know,
bad, dog.
but this game is really a toss-up, man, between the Jets and the Eagles. I mean, it's really so hard to pick who's gonna win. I hope you guys, whoop them like there's no tomorrow. But I think at the end, I think this game also is gonna go to the Eagles. Unfortunately.
Oh,
It's going to be very close. Like I said, I mean, it's going to be a toss-up. Maybe it's going to come down to like a one last field goal, and I hope it's going to be yours. But I have a feeling that the Eagles will pull it out somehow, like they always do.
I think what it comes down to is that home field. It's being in the game's in the Jet Stadium. I think that's where we're going to be able to come on top. So here we go. Fourth game. Who do we have next? We have the Miami Dolphins in UK. This is going to be interesting. Is that considered a home game for us?
No.
It's not.
It's
an
a
away game?
Dolphins. It's a Dolphins away game, so the Dolphins lose a home game.
Oh, that's
So-
good. That's good. But here's the thing. I will take that. I will take that as a win. Believe it or not, I will take that as a win. I'm going in with the entire AFC East. We're going to split 50-50 amongst everybody. So we're going to win or lose against the Patriots. We're going to lose against the Buffalo Bills. We're going to lose against the Dolphins. And I'm taking this as a win for us. So go ahead, Rock Chalk. Tell me what you think about this.
All right. You guys might disagree with me. I expect you to, but I actually have us getting swept by the Dolphins this year. We always find ways to struggle against them. I don't know what it is, and they sometimes find like the silliest ways to beat us. I remember a few years ago, Ted Ginn took 2 kicks to the house. Jason Taylor also recovered a fumble for a touchdown that game. They block field goals, they block punts, they find silly ways to beat us.
That's a good
And
point.
I feel like that's gonna be the reason why we lose that game. I think we'll lose in a low-scoring game, but they'll return a blocked field goal for a touchdown. Something silly will happen in that game, and I think we'll wind up losing somehow. But I do have us getting swept by the Dolphins just because of that. It's silly, but it is what it is.
It's always the second game that's more competitive against the Dolphins. Is that not true? It's the first game is
I
always
agree.
the second game is always 9-3 or 9-6 or very close. It just comes down to maybe a touchdown.
Yeah, and also we always win in Miami, and
That's
Gino
true.
also always plays well in Miami.
That's
And
true.
I feel like the schedule makers screwed us over and put that game in London so we don't have to play in Miami. And I think that's why we're going to lose.
That's all. You got a lot of time on your hands there, man. No, that's great. John, go ahead.
Yeah, I got us as winning, but I think that this is going to be a game where we're going to be extremely exhausted because of the travel and all the teams or all the time that we're going to have to take to get there. But I have us taking a win because I think if we get pressure on Tannehill, which we will, he has there's no real guy that's just a boom speed guy, take the top off the defense with him. They're really trying to put their offense back together. Landry's a solid receiver, and they got a Hartline over there. I think now as well from the Browns. So it's a solid little squad, but I just don't think that they have enough offensively to score on us. I think our offense is going to have time. I think we'll be able to throw the ball a little bit better on them than we did last year with the more weapons we have. So I have us winning that game.
Oh, I'm on the same page with you, John. D, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with John definitely. I think a win for the Jets easily.
Really?
Yes. I'm not big on the Dolphins at all. I think that this is going to be an easy win for the Jets, especially with the improved defense. I think they will pick apart Tannehill. So I think it'd be actually an easy win for the Jets.
Based on last year, if you look at last year, none of the London games were close. Maybe the Detroit Lions game was kind of close to Falcons, but
They blew the Falcons blew that game.
yeah, exactly. And
Definitely.
yeah, they did blow that game. It just came down to what, 2 minutes? Yeah.
The Falcons coach iced the kicker, but the kicker missed when he called timeout, and then on the second try he hit it. So
So we do have a bye week after 4 games this season. What do you guys think about an early bye week? Are you in favor of it or are you not? Rock Chalk?
I feel like if if we start well, whether it's even 2-2, 3-1, or 4-0, like John thinks, I think that the bye keeps us focused. And I really like the early bye. We've had later byes, and we were like almost tired, the week before the bye, these past few years. So I like the early bye. It'll keep us focused, and I think it's just in a very good spot. It'll keep us going the rest of the year.
Good. John, wow, I didn't realize you had us going 4-0 there, big guy.
Hey, that's what I have.
How's that confidence over here?
No, that's just what I have right now. We're just talking right now as far as our teams look right now, not talking after the draft.
What do you think about the bye week?
I think that I like late buys myself, but this is a decent buy. Late buys though I think really help your team because by then you're kind of a little beat up. Gives you a week to recover from some injuries that may be lagging. But this bye, I think, comes at an okay time. Like Racha said, just enough to, keep you focused. It's an early bye. You'll get a good rest early, and then boom, you get to, get running again. So, it's a decent bye.
Okay. D?
Yeah, definitely. I think especially since it's after the UK game, they actually get some extra time.
That's a good point.
Plus the bye, so they be refreshed, just like starting a season again for them. And they be ready to go for the rest of it. So I don't agree with that early buy, but this one is different because it's right after the UK game. So I definitely like this one.
I'm responding to Philly Sports 2000. He said, I'm calling it Eagles, make it 10-0. I don't know if he means 10 wins or 10-0 for the Eagles. I just want to
I'd say 10. He probably says 10-0, like a 10-0 story, I guess.
Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. But okay, I don't see that happening.
Yeah, okay,
but the Washington Redskins. That's another home game. Wow, I guess we're gonna be playing a lot of away games late in the season. I consider this, and I'm sorry, I'm going on a 4-1 win right off the bat, but I feel like as a Jets fan, I have to apologize to win. But no, playing against the Redskins, I feel the same way about the Redskins as I do the Eagles. I don't know what direction they're going to. That's why I feel like we're more of an established team right now under Mike McKagan and Todd Bowles than the Redskins. So it all kind of depends, which RG3 shows up, or even RG3 is going to be your starting quarterback. So I'll take this as a win. Rock Chop?
I definitely think we win this game. I don't know what the Redskins are doing on offense. I know, of course, Deshaun Jackson and Pierre Garçon, of course, great. Their tight end position also has a sort of a question mark. Their backfield, they just lost Roy Halou. I'm not sure if Alfred Morris, can carry the whole load for them. Of course, he's a great running back, but you need a speed guy back there. You can't just have speed in your receiving core. So I do think we definitely win this game, and we might even like shut them out, hold them to like 3 points. I think we make a statement in this game.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. That's exactly how I feel. John?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. That was literally the same thing I was going to say. I think that they're, you got to wonder about this team, and it really depends on which RG3 shows up. Yeah, if the RG3 that we saw last season, where he was just fumbling and bumbling and couldn't get anything going, I think we beat them. I think we beat them handily.
Let's tune into it. Yeah, NFC East Insider. D?
Listen, Redskins were a mess last year. And I haven't seen anything to change my mind about this year either, So I definitely take the Jets to beat them easily, And, yeah, definitely a win for you guys.
Gotcha. Call me crazy. The next game is against the New England Patriots. All right, we're playing this at home. We don't seem to play them very well at home. We haven't been able to play the Patriots fairly well over the past 6-7 years.
That was on the road, right?
No, hold on, let me double check. Yeah, no, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, it's at Gillette Stadium. Yeah, if it's at Gillette Stadium, which thank you for correcting me, but I will take that as a loss. We're gonna lose at Gillette Stadium. That's just the way I feel about it. I think Patriots being the Patriots, they're no matter what they do in the offseason, they're always able to put out a pretty solid team. But I will take the first game against the Patriots as a loss. Rockchop?
You know, I definitely agree. I think we will lose. We do play well somehow in Gillette Stadium, besides, of course, that 45-3 blowout. But this game's at 1 o'clock, so it is a little different than the past two games. I remember the last time we played at 1 o'clock, frickin' Stephen Hill, man, dropping that pass, and we lost in overtime. That was very ugly. He's Panthers practice squad, I think, but
go ahead.
We lost that game dramatically, but the year before that, we lost, I think, by like I forget what the score was, but I remember Holmes had a touchdown. Curley, I believe, had a touchdown as well that game, and we lost. It was competitive, but McCourty also returned a kick for a touchdown, I believe, that game, if I'm remembering correctly. But we did lose by, like, I'd say 7, maybe 10 points, but I think it'll be like that one. But it'll be competitive. I think it'll be a good game, but we'll lose.
John?
Yes, this is a game. I think we're going to lose this game, and this is going to be the first drop of the season. And this is going to be the one that I think is going to test the team. I think this is a game where Belichick finds a way to really exploit the fact that we don't have a quarterback that is, an upper echelon quarterback. Whether it's Geno, well, more than likely it's probably going to be Geno anyway. So I think that Geno comes out and throws a couple interceptions and we lose the game. And then the media is going to come around and is Geno the franchise quarterback? And the Jets can't depend on Geno Smith. And Geno is garbage and blah, 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 because he had, a bad game. And I think that this is going to be the game that we drop because of that. I just feel it. Like, I feel it. So I'm counting this one as a loss.
Okay. D?
Guys, I don't know. I mean, I really haven't followed the New England and to see what players they signed. But as far as I know, they lost Revis, they lost Vereen, they lost Ridley. I mean, these players were the big pieces to that team last year. So I really don't know what and who they replace these players with. But as always, Belichick is going to find a way, at home especially,
yeah, it's called
against unproven, like a quarterback, to get a win. I mean, it's going to be close, but unfortunately, he's going to go to the New England. But like the other guy said, John and Ryan, it definitely is going to be close. It's definitely going to be competitive, But at the end of the day, it's going to be New England.
Okay. The next game, it's going to be against the Oakland Raiders in Oakland. Night of the Shield right now is watching this, and he's been really pumped up to see what a response is going to be against his Oakland Raiders. Again, if you guys haven't watched Night of the Shield's channel, please do. Big fan of his. Soon, hopefully, we'll do a video together. Call me crazy, guys. We're going to lose this game, and let me just say why. We're coming off against the Patriots loss. And these are the type of games that the Jets are famous for, losing and doing. We don't tend to play good in Oakland. I think, we're going to lose it, at New England. Then we're going to carry that type of bad momentum into Oakland Raiders. I think if we're going to have a sour decrease next year, this is it on the calendar. I think it's going to start with the Patriots. Then we're going to lose in Oakland. For the most part, they've definitely improved their team, but there's a lot of pieces the Raiders need to fill up in the draft, where whether it's a wide receiver or whichever direction they want to go. But I think when it comes down to the quarterback game, I think Derek Carr at home, where he's got all of his wins. The Oakland Raiders with Derek Carr, I don't think they've had a win away. So I think we're going to lose this game, and if we do lose it, it's going to be a close one. It's going to be probably coming down to a turnover. Rock Chop?
I definitely agree. I do think we're going to lose this game, and I think it's going to be ugly. Not like us getting blown out, but like our performance. Like some of the stuff, I don't know. I mean, I remember we lost a few years ago to Oakland, to Jamarcus Russell, actually. It was more than a few years ago. We had Brett Favre, but it was very ugly. We lost in overtime. Favre threw a lot of interceptions. And I think the same thing is going to happen. We're going to lose a low-scoring game. We're just going to look bad. But I think after this game, I think we are going to, have a very nice streak, playing well. But I think that it's going to be a very ugly loss, and it's going to wake the whole team up. And from then on out, I think we'll play great. But this is going to be, I think it'll be ugly.
No, I definitely agree with you. And I think if we had a better time to have a bye week, it would be after the Oakland Raiders game. That's why I wanted to wait and push that bye week, just for us to be able to recoup and be able to redirect ourselves back to our winning ways. John, tell us what you think about the Oakland Raiders game.
Yeah, I think that, and this is why I was talking about the Patriots game, and that the media is going to be all over us. And I think that in the past, this would be a slide for us. But I think with our new coaches and our newfound, our front office, just the newfound attitude that we have, I think that this is a game that we win. And I think that we win because of our veteran leadership, because we got Revis, because we got, Cromartie back, because we brought Buster Skrine in, because we have all these guys that are not going to let us slide down this hill like we have in the past. And I think that we win this game and we move forward. I think the Raiders are a solid team. I think they have, some pieces to start it up. But I think that this is the game where we rebound off of that Patriots game and we don't allow that one loss to carry over, and beat us time and time and time again. So I think we beat the Raiders.
Okay. D, what do you think?
Guys, if I didn't know John, I would say he's going to pick the Jets to win the Super Bowl this year.
No.
John, you know something we don't. What is this, 8-0?
But listen, the Raiders look good. The Raiders look really good on the paper. I mean, they've been improved. They look good on the paper. Now I don't know if they're gonna put that in the field and really play like they are supposed to. But also have the Jets to lose this game over there. So I think the Raiders gonna win, and and it's gonna be a close game, but definitely the Raiders gonna take it.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, wow, exactly. That's how I feel. But I just know the Jets, and I know once we go into a little slump. But you got us recouping right after that loss. So
yeah, I got you.
No, I hear you. The next game we have is the Jacksonville Jaguars are coming to MetLife Stadium. I will take this as a win, and I will take this as a very tough win. I feel like the Jaguars haven't been able to improve themselves a tad bit. If this is any type of a game, I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, but I do have this as a win. Rock Chalk, what do you think?
I definitely agree we'll win, but if I were to say a score, I'd say like maybe 24-10. I think we will, dominate for a majority of the game. I do like Jacksonville's receiving core. They're fast, and Bortles has a good arm. So I do think that they'll get the ball down the field on us a few times. But I feel like our defensive line will get after Bortles. I feel like the Jacksonville offensive line, I feel like they swung and missed on a few of their draft picks. I'm not a fan of Jockle. And I know a few years ago they got rid of Eugene Monroe. He was a very good left tackle for them. I feel like they really haven't, recouped from that. I remember the Steelers ripped them apart this year, sacking them a lot. So I do believe that we will win. It may not be convincing, but I think defensively it will be.
That's a good point. John?
Yeah, I take this as a win. I think that Jacksonville has done a couple of different things, and they've spruced up some things. They've gotten some guys in there. Denard Robertson is a guy that I think is very solid. A guy that's, he's a receiving threat. He's a good running back. He can do all types of different things. And they've also been able to throw some money around in free agency and move some guys in, but I just don't think it's enough for Jacksonville. And I think we beat them. I'm not saying we're going to blow them out. I definitely think it's going to be a tight game, but I think that we'll beat them.
B, what do you think?
Yeah, definitely agree. I mean, this has to be a win. So win for Jets.
Okay. All right. So let's see what else we have. The next game that we have is going to be the Buffalo Bills at MetLife Stadium. I don't know who I told this, but I circled this in my calendar right off the bat. I can't wait to play the Buffalo Bills. Last year when they came to New Jersey, they basically they demolished us, I thought. So it's definitely payback time. Can't wait to face the new improved Buffalo Bills. I think what it comes down to in this game is it's going to be defense. I think we're going to be able to prevail. And I know a lot of you guys that keep mentioning Geno Smith as your starting quarterback this entire time. I got Ryan Fitzpatrick as my guy. So I'm going to take this as a win at home against the Buffalo Bills. Rock?
I agree. I think we'll win, and I think our defense will step up again. And call me crazy, but I think that we will be able to run the ball. on Rex. I think we will run the ball down his throat, and I don't know. I think that we'll just shove it in his face this game.
He's gonna bring that. He's gonna be blitzing us left and
Yeah.
right, man. I mean, I can already see it.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like we're just gonna just slam it down his throat. And I think it'll definitely feel good winning this game, and I think that we'll win the game in a way that Rex will hate losing it.
This is the one area where I might disagree with you, Rock, and I think I agree with you, running the ball, but I think we're gonna beat the Buffalo deep on one or two occasions with Brandon Marshall, just because he's gonna try to bring the house, and we're gonna try to go out deep and be able to score on him. John, what do you think about the Buffalo Bills game?
Yeah, this is a loss. This is a loss in my mind. I think that Rex is going to have that defense dialed up. They have so many weapons. There's no way in the world we're going to be able to run on them. Not with those two huge defensive tackles that they have in the middle. Not just that, but Rex's scheme as well is going to he's going to throw all types of look at us, all types of mix-ups from 4-3 to 3-4. He's might come out in the 4-6. He's going to do all types of things. Different nickel schemes he's going to have us looking at too. I think he's going to have whoever our quarterback is just on his toes. He's going to get some interceptions. I think the offense is going to be able to produce a little bit, and I think they beat us.
Okay. D, what do you think?
Hey guys, I'm really gonna enjoy watching this game, and I really didn't know who to pick and say who's gonna win. So before this video, I flipped a coin, and it came down to Jets gonna win the game. So there is no logic behind it, but the Jets gonna win. So I'm putting Jets down to win this game.
I love it. I wish everything just came down to a coin toss, but All right, so let's go, and the next game we do have, we're playing the Houston Texans in Houston. I'm going to take this as a loss, us going out to the Texans Stadium. Rock Chalk, what do you think?
I think that this is another win. I do think that whoever is under center for us next year is going to have a very good game. Of course, Watt will get to him a few times. Simply because, that side of the line for us right now, the way it looks, right now I think it's going to be Cologne and Giacomini. Hopefully we improve it, but right now that's the way it looks to me, and I think Watt will definitely take advantage of that. But I do think that, whoever's under center will get the ball out of his hand quickly. I think Curley has a big game. I think Decker has a big game, and I think Marshall in the red zone is going to be deadly. And I can't see the Texans stopping him in the red zone. So I do think that we will win. May not be easy, but I do think that we will get the job done offensively.
Gotcha. John?
I'm taking it as a win. I don't know who in the world is going to be the Texans quarterback. They got Mallett, they got Hoyer, they got Tom Savage out there.
They're in the driver's seat, man. I wish I had that type of problem. I got Geno Smith and Ryan Fitzpatrick problems. That's bad.
Yeah, but those guys aren't off the map good either. Like Hoyer,
That's true.
Yeah, garbage season last year. Mallett was always all that comes with Mallett is a lot of promise, but he never really delivers. And Savage,
Can I ask you a question before you go on real fast?
Yeah, go ahead.
If you had a chance of Mallett, Brian Hoyer, or still get Ryan Fitzpatrick, which one of those three would you have chosen?
For Chan Gailey's offense, I would definitely going to go Fitzpatrick because of Chan Gailey's offense, because he already knows the offense. He already knows everything. He knows all the nuances. Yeah, you played with him in Buffalo. He made him look good. So I would just go off, based off of that. So that's where I'll go with that. But I'm taking it as a win. I think we get a lot of pressure. Defensively, we're going to be all over their quarterback. Andre Johnson isn't there anymore either. DeAndre Hopkins is their starting wide receiver. I mean, he's a solid wide receiver. He's okay, but he's not a world beater. He hasn't developed into that yet. Defensively, I mean, as long as we stay away from A.J. Watt, however we have to do that, and kind of scheme for him and keep him out to play, I think defensively they're food. I don't like their secondary at all. I never have. I think you can expose that secondary. I think you can throw all over them. And I think once JJ wears down, if that's possible, because he's not human, if that's possible, if you can wear him down, then you're going to be able to run the ball too. So I think this is going to be a big win. I think this is a big win for us.
Before I move on to D and to tell me his suggestion of the game, do you guys like Chad Gailey as an offensive coordinator? Chalk, go ahead.
I do like the spread offense approach because we all know Schottenheimer, very conservative. Sperano is not great either. And Morningweg, I remember, well, he had the West Coast approach, but it's like 3rd and 7, we throw the ball 4 yards. Like, I absolutely hate that. And I like the fact that we're going to be spreading the ball out this year. And, he's going to be, whoever's under center is going to be under center, but there's going to be 4 out wide and Ivory in the backfield, and we could still run the ball with that. And I think that's a very interesting approach, and I think it'll work.
Gotcha. John?
Yeah, I think if you look at our past coordinators, like Rock said, Schottenheimer, I think, was just an idiot. I don't even think it was conservative. I think he didn't really know how to call plays, because if you look at everywhere he's gone after that, he's ruined their offense too. When he went to the Rams, he ruined that offense, and now he's in college in Georgia, and he's going to ruin their offense too. Everywhere he goes, that offense tanks. So I think he's an idiot. Sperano, I have no clue why we even went out Sperano. We should have got Norv Turner that year. I really think that was just Rex just did not know how to get an offensive coordinator in here. For all his genius, he just had no clue how to get an offensive coordinator in here. Marty Morningweg, I still think is a solid offensive coordinator, but I think his problem with us was he does not know how to use our personnel. I think Marty's scheme fits one personnel base, and that's it. He doesn't know how to make adjustments during the game either. And I think that was his downfall. If you don't know how to adjust to the personnel that you have, and you also don't know how to adjust during the games, then you're just begging to lose. Like, you're going to lose. There's no doubt about it. NFL is all about adjustments. That's point blank, period. I think with Gailey, do I love Chan Gailey? No. Do I think we could have done a lot worse? Yes. so I'll take him. I think that there's some things that he can do. He's been out of the league for a little bit, so we'll kind of see, how he gets back into the spin of things. But I think that Chan's going to be able to do some different things that are definitely going to bring us some good things offensively, especially with Ryan Fitzpatrick being our wild card. I think one of the things that are going to be kind of his stamp on the franchise is what he does with Geno and how he gets Geno to play. If Geno can't be motivated under Chan Gailey, if he does not perform under Chan Gailey, that's it. Because I'm not calling Geno a bust yet, because there's a couple things that have gone into why Geno has been so bad. Let's not forget, bro, Geno had Clyde Gates and Stephen Hill to throw to his first couple years. Yeah, and David Nelson. No one's going to win. Yeah, no one's going to win with that. Like, no one. I don't care who you are. You're not going to win with that. You're just not. Has there been a lot of bad play calling? Has there been a lot of bad players surrounding Geno? Yes. But there's also been a lot of bad Geno, too. There's been a lot of, lapses in judgment, horrible leadership, not being prepared for games all the way correctly, and just some errors on the field, too. So I think with Chan Gailey, you're going to see, okay, look, I'm putting my foot in the sand. You're going to improve. You're going to learn the scheme. And we're going to also fit the scheme around you so that you can succeed. Because not every quarterback is going to be able to do the same thing, as great as the next quarterback. There's some things where you have to look at Geno's game and pull those skills out and say, okay, I'm going to highlight this in my game plan and fit it into my game plan so that we can get him rolling doing this. So that's one of the things I think is going to be a stamp on the franchise for Chan Gailey.
Hey, John, you probably know this. You probably know the answer to this question. Who's the best quarterback after Joe Namath?
For the Jets?
Come on, you should know this. All time.
All time?
It's Vinny Testaverde. Everybody knows that. John.
It's Chad Pennington. Vinny had great Testaverde. Vinny was great, but come on, Chad. Let's not
Vinny
talk about it.
Was good.
You got Ken O'Brien. Ken O'Brien's in there.
Richard Todd.
Yeah, Richard. There's a couple different quarterbacks. We all know you're in love with Vinny. You two need to go get a room. But there's a couple of different quarterbacks that we've had that have been really solid. We love Vinny. Yeah. I love Chad Pennington. Everyone knows that. I'm his biggest fan. All right, but it is what it is.
The Houston Texans win or loss?
No, that's going to be, I think, a big win for you guys. I think you guys are going to be able to throw all over the defense. As long as, like John said, you can control J.J. Watt, you're going to be able to throw, all over that defense and that secondary. So I would take that as a big, win for you guys.
Statement game, yeah. Next game, we were playing the Miami Dolphins. I told you guys we're going to split down the middle with all the AFC East teams. So the first game in London, we do lose, as far as what my suggestion or my comparison or whatever was concerned. So I'm going to take this as a win, but I'm going to take this as a very close win. Either comes down to a field goal or just a mistake on some team, but I will take this as a win. Rock Chalk, go ahead.
Like I said, they're going to sweep us. We have not beat them at MetLife since that Monday night game, but let's not forget they were like 0-5, 0-6. We struggle so badly against them. I don't know, I don't know what it is. Like, we find different ways to lose to them. I don't know how we're going to lose in this particular game. I know I said the London game we'll find a silly way to lose, like a blocked field goal or something like that. But this game, I don't know. I feel like they're just going to find a way to beat us. But I obviously do think we're going to win games after that, but I think that this stops I have us having a 3-game win streak. I think that this is the game that stops it.
Gotcha. John?
I'm taking this as a loss, and I don't know how they're going to do it, but I do believe that they're going to beat us. The Dolphins play actually better away from home, and which, the London game is a home game for them, but it's not technically a home game because they're not in Miami. But for whatever reason, they play really good away from home than they do at home. And I don't know how they're going to do it, but I feel like they're just going to be in some type of groove by then, and they'll beat us. Not by much, but they'll beat us.
G?
Man, I already said I'm not big on that Dolphin team, so I will take the Jets to win.
Here we go. Perfect. Here's your 15 seconds of fame there, big guy. We're playing the Giants. So is this considered as a home game or away game?
Listen, man, I don't care if it's a home game or it's an away game or you guys playing us on the moon. You guys gonna lose.
There we go. Hey, Chuck, I want to make a nice special for him when it comes down to TTC.
Who are you gonna stop? You're gonna stop. The Beckham.
Eli's gonna stop himself. Eli will stop himself.
Oh, please.
So
I'm not gonna listen to you guys.
Yeah. Are you gonna mute us? No. I have
to mute John because John probably gonna say Jets gonna win. Then he's gonna say we're gonna win Super Bowl.
So. I'm going to take this as a win. We're not going to win the Super Bowl, but I'm going to take this as a win. Honestly, which Eli is going to show up, you tell me when it's your turn. But, there's a lot of questions on the defense for the Giants. There's questions, on the quarterback side. They haven't made that many moves this offseason. So, honestly, I think we're a much stronger team on paper, and we're going to be able to prevail.
Listen, in the last conversation I had with Eli Manning, he told me if you're gonna go 1-15, that one game you're gonna beat the Jets. So he said the good side is gonna show up.
Oh, please, Brock, go ahead.
I don't know. I feel like we're just gonna. Well, the Dolphins game, I think we'll lose in a close game, but this Giants game, I think it'll be very similar to the last one. We'll lose by maybe 10 points, 10, 14 points. We'll keep it close, but I think that Eli will take over in the fourth quarter. I think Odell Beckham has a big game. Of course, it's not going to be all on Revis. He'll have a few catches on Revis. But I think that we will – I think Cromartie – for some reason, I feel like Cromartie's going to run his mouth and he's going to want to cover Beckham, and I think he's going to find a way to get schooled.
That's
I do
a nice matchup, though. Odell Beckham, Revis, or Odell Beckham, Cromartie. Yeah. I can't wait for that.
Yeah. But I do have us losing this game. Yeah.
Okay. All right. John?
Oh, man. Yeah.
Go ahead. Give him the Super Bowl. Go ahead.
No, you're so salty, man. You're salty. Yeah. I actually have us winning this game. I don't have us winning the Super Bowl, but I do have us winning this game. I think that, Revis is going to be able to shut down Odell Beckham. Victor Cruz, he's coming off that injury. I'm not saying he's not going to be good, but I'm saying he's coming off a big-time injury. So I think that Victor Cruz will be able to be held. Again, it's the same thing. Eli, which Eli shows up? You know what I mean? I don't necessarily like the Giants' running game either. that defense is trash, complete trash. And I think that offensively we'll be able to definitely take advantage of a lot of different things that they have going over there, especially in that safety area. Trash safeties, questionable corners. That defensive line doesn't get much of a push outside of Pierre. So, I think we beat the Giants.
Okay, good. I like that, John. NFC East Insider, go ahead.
Oh, I mean, at this point, I have to go and mute John. There's no reason. He just called my defense trash. I mean, what else I'm? But I definitely agree. I mean, I think our defense is a toss-up. I don't know if Spagnuolo is going to be able to improve. Because we really haven't added any big pieces to improve that defense, and I don't know if a coach can improve players that don't have talent. So I really don't know about the defense. I'm very confident that our offense can score, especially if Eli is on its game. But definitely don't have much of confidence in our defense, and that's what it comes down to. So we'll see.
Gotcha. Before we go to the next game, I do have a question that just popped up. It's by Antonio Lanny. So the question is, should we have signed Buster Skrine, or should we have saved that money to sign Muhammad Wilkerson? If you guys just give me a quick answer on that, tell me what you guys think. Rock?
Well, I mean, if we were sure that we were going to spend that money towards Wilkerson, I'd say absolutely don't sign Skrine and go get Wilkerson on a long-term deal. But I mean, I think Maccagnan, like Maccagnan said in his pressers, he was more concerned of fixing, the holes on this team, getting more talent on this team, or he's kind of putting the Wilkerson talk off to the side. So I feel like if you want to get more talent on this team, I think that Skrine was the right move. But if you were going to save money and maybe go get Wilkerson with that money, then I think you just stick with Milliner. But we did need a lot of talent on this team. I mean, it showed last year. We had no talent at all.
Good point. John?
I thought the signing of Skrine was overkill. Like I said, I thought we really spent a lot of money this year. Because even if we would have got Cromartie and Revis, we still would have had Marcus Williams, who flourished on, showed up big for us. And he was a guy that we just literally got off the street. He came in and he played corner. You still would have D. Milner. And you could have probably even brought Kyle Wilson back for, a small amount of money. So that would have definitely have done. But, Skrine, he's a good corner. I'm not disrespecting him, but I just thought it was kind of overkill. But maybe they already approached Muhammad Wilkerson, and that wasn't going to work out either way. So they said, you know what, we'll just go sign Skrine anyway, because you're not going to accept that amount of money either. So, yeah. But if it meant getting rid of Skrine to sign Muhammad Wilkerson, I'm all about signing Muhammad Wilkerson.
Okay. D?
Listen, one part John said, like we don't exactly know what's going on, inside, and we have no insight from, like, if Jets went ahead and kind of had a conversation with Wilkerson, and they'd be like, okay, we offer you this much, and they know he's going to reject it, and they went and did that. But in my opinion, if they didn't have any idea, any moves that reduces signing Wilkerson to a deal is a bad move. So unless they had the insight that he wouldn't take the deal, it's okay that they overkilled. But if they didn't have an idea and they spent that money and that will cause them not to sign Wilkerson, I call that a bad move.
Okay. So let's see what's next on the schedule.
Can I say one more thing?
Team that we have. Yeah, please go ahead.
If any deal, going back to that, if any deal I think hurt the re-signing of Muhammad Wilkerson, it was Revis' deal. If you look at the money, I mean, he's great. Like, don't listen. For Jets Nation goes crazy. Yes, Revis is.
I was about to go crazy.
Yeah, Revis clearly, depending on what you like out of your corners or scheme, he clearly is the number one. 1A, 1B. People talk about Richard Sherman or Peterson or whoever, or even Grimes sometimes get thrown around in that conversation as the number one corner. But clearly he is the top corner in the league, depending on what you like in your scheme. But dude, we gave him a lot of money. like a crazy amount of money. So you know, if anything, I think that hurt Muhammad, it was that deal. It was just like, you know, you gave this guy like a boatload of money to come back here. So I think people need to, you know, kind of think about that too.
That's a good point. Next game, we're playing the Tennessee Titans at home. Here's the thing, guys. I think we're going to take this as a win, and I can't wait to play this game just because of the incident that happened last year with Geno Smith and everybody that got into that fight or whatever. You know, I'm all about supporting my players. If you play for the Jets, I'm going to root for you, whether if it's off the field or on the field. I don't appreciate what happened, the way the offensive lineman attacked Geno Smith. So I'm really thinking, you know, we're going to come out and be able to win this game at home against the Titans. And again, I don't know what to make of the Titans. I haven't been able to make of the Titans in a while, ever since, you know, Eddie George and Steve McNair days. Rock Chalk, what do you think? I'm taking them back, man.
I think we definitely win. I mean, this could also be a blowout. I think that the loss to the Giants is definitely going to piss us off. I have us losing to the Giants, and I think I'll always have that, even after the draft and after like different stuff go on in the offseason. I'll always have that Giants game as a loss. That's just me. But I think that we will, you know, come up with a big win after this game against the Giants, and I think it'll give us, you know, the momentum we could need to get to the playoffs.
Okay. John?
Yeah, I think that Tennessee is a trash can in the winter. They're cold garbage, and I think that that's a win. I think that Tennessee is gonna kind of prove themselves. Depending if they make that, even if they make that trade for Phillip Rivers, you're gonna see that Tennessee is probably one of the worst teams in the league, if not the worst team in the league this year. They're really void of talent at a lot of different positions, and they're not coached very well either. So yeah. I think that this is a win.
D?
First of all the Tennessee fans, I don't know John, so don't even put any comments on our site because I don't know about this guy. But no, just kidding. Listen, Tennessee's right. Tennessee is not a good team at all, and you know, it would be a surprise if Jets lose to this team. I mean, definitely with this new guard, with this new coach, with this new GM, I see Jets to be on top of the game every single time. I don't think they will let their guard down against Tennessee, and this is going to be a nice, sweet win for them on the road.
Okay, good stuff. Guys, just in case, if I'm not maybe, you know, if I'm looking off the screen a little bit, it's because I'm trying to read all these messages and comments, so I don't mean any disrespect.
Yeah.
And then we do have a couple of questions I want to address.
Read some of the questions, definitely.
Yeah. We're going to go back to the game. So, what is it? Jedi Knight NY asked. We spoke before about Mike McKagan. What do you guys think about trading or third rounder for Mike Glennon?
Well, no, I remember he had that in one of your previous videos. Glennon, I'm not entirely sold on. I do think he has some upside. He's big. He's got a good arm. But a third round pick, I don't know. I mean, I think that's a lot.
Okay. Anybody else wants to comment on that question, John?
Yeah. I don't think that Mike Glennon. Yeah, absolutely. I don't think that Mike Glennon is worth a third rounder either. I totally agree with Rockin. I think that Mike Glennon. I mean, to me, there's really not much difference between Mike Glennon, Geno, and Fitzpatrick. I don't think he's much better than either one of the quarterbacks that we have right now. If you were talking about possibly trading a second or third rounder for somebody like Bradford or something like that, if you could get him for that, then that's a deal that I would be more intrigued in, but not trading for Glennon, no.
Yeah. Here we go. All right, so I thought it was another comment. But overall, just this is kind of a comment statement. Do you guys feel satisfied with so far how the offseason has went? Rock Chalk, yes or no?
I'd say definitely yes. I wish, well, we were talking about Wilkerson before, but I mean, I wish that if Idzik could have done anything, he could have locked up Wilkerson, and he didn't. But I think that ultimately, in the end, we will get Wilkerson back on a long-term deal. But I wish it was already done because I am starting to sweat over it a little bit.
Yeah, me too. On yes or no, you feel good about the offseason?
Yeah, I definitely feel good about the offseason. We filled a lot of holes. We did a lot of things. Like I said, I thought we got a little too spin happy, but we filled a lot of positions and we did what we needed to do to get the deals done. So I'm pretty happy about it. I just kind of want to see how we will and deal through the draft, though, because I think that's where Mike Maccagnan is really going to put his stamp or his legacy here with us. Is what does he do in the draft?
Yep. Next game, we're playing the Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to go to my NFC East insider. I'm going to let him tell us what he thinks about the win or loss. What do you think? Because my opinion is we're going to go into Dallas. We're going to lose this one. I think it's going to be tough on the road playing the Dallas Cowboys. Whether if it's Romo, whether it's Dez Bryant, they're going to be able to step up the game and be able to win that. D, what do you think?
Guys, Tony Romo opened his big mouth and said they're going to win the Super Bowl this year. But you know what? He makes those promises. It's all right. I wish you guys could go down there and whoop them a little bit, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think that's going to be a loss. It's kind of tough to play in that stadium against Dallas. They still have a decent team, even though they lost Murray, but they still have a good team. Even though I believe Revis going to be able to shut down Bryant, but there are still other weapons. There's still Tony Romo out there. Offensively, I think they are a little bit better than the Jets right now. I have them lose the game against Dallas.
Okay. Rock Chalk, what do you think?
I actually have us winning this game. I feel like that this is the biggest game of the year. We want to make that push towards 10-6 to get into the playoffs. So I think we do win this game. I think that Revis shuts down Dez like he did that one year. Of course, Dez had that touchdown, but it was on Cromartie. Revis shut down Dez that game, picked him off to put us in position to win the game. So I think that Revis will be on Dez all game. He will shut him down. I think that McFadden's not going to run the ball on us. Of course, they might draft someone, but I think that McFadden might ultimately be their starting runner next year. The only matchup issue I have is Jason Witten, but I don't think that Witten's going to be enough to beat us. So I think we will come up with a big win and make a playoff push with this win.
Okay, good job.
Yeah, I actually have us losing this game. I don't think it's because they're going to be able to throw the ball on us. I think they're going to be able to run the ball on us. That offensive line is really, really good. They have a lot of pieces. A guy that I wanted us to actually draft, Zach Martin from Notre Dame, is playing for them. He's done nothing but really good things. And I if they don't end up with Adrian Peterson, which I think is extremely likely for the Cowboys to end up with him.
Don't say it.
Yeah, it can happen. It can happen. It definitely can happen. Even if they don't end up with him, I think that Joseph Randle is a capable running back. He's a guy that is a speed guy. He can get out and about. And so with the holes as big as Dallas is going to be able to open up, I think he'll be able to run through those. And I think they'll definitely run the ball on us quite a bit. I'm not saying that they're going to just destroy us on the ground, but I think they'll be able to run enough and score enough. Because I think it's going to be a tight game that you got to win. So I'm taking it as a loss to Dallas.
D, NFC East insider, go ahead.
Yeah, I already told you that this is definitely going to be a loss. Just like John said. I mean, Dallas has a good team. They still have a decent running back. And after all, even though Tony Romo has a big mouth, but they still have Tony Romo. So it's going to be a win for Dallas and a loss for the Jets.
Guys, all the people who are viewing this, thank you for the comments. I think that's what's really making this video happen. I'm going to refer to another question that's being asked right now by Antonio. He states, if Breeze or Rivers were dealt for number 6 and we have to give up a first rounder, would that be a good move or no?
I mean, if you could get Phillip Rivers, clearly it's a no-brainer. But I don't think it would be a good move for us long-term. Because if you look at Phillip Rivers, next year his deal is done. We're not going to be able to re-sign him, bro. If you're talking about re-signing Phillip Rivers, first off, you can't. Because he's going to be $20 million, maybe even $20+ million for some teams that are going to offer, up for him. We don't have that type of cap room. So you're automatically talking about getting rid of. There's no doubt in my mind that Muhammad Wilkerson's going to be gone. So I think for the long run type thing, there's no reason to trade for Phillip Rivers, even if they would just accept the first round pick. It'd be a one and done for him.
Anybody else wants to comment on that by any chance? Rock, D, anybody?
Yeah, well, I don't know, I feel like I'm not personally a fan of going after like old quarterbacks. We learned with Brett Favre that's not the best idea. So even I love Drew Brees. I'm the biggest Drew Brees fan. He's probably my favorite quarterback in the league, but he's going to be gone in 1 or 2 years. So I don't know. I'm not a fan of him, and I hate Phillip Rivers personally. I think that he's just like a crybaby. He goes down easily. If you get a hand on him, you'll take him down. So I'm not the biggest fan of Rivers, but I do like Brees, but he'll be gone. So I hope we don't trade for an old quarterback. I really don't.
You just made our Raider viewers really happy when you said that. What do you think?
Listen, I agree with Chuck. I mean, I agree with Ryan that what he said. It's definitely I wouldn't be giving up my draft picks for quarterbacks. Nothing to take away from Drew Brees. I mean, definitely a great quarterback. One of the real good quarterbacks in NFL, but still because of his age, because of the timing, I wouldn't be giving up my first round, second round pick for Drew Brees. Or Phillip Rivers at this time. I think I'll take my chances with my young quarterbacks right now until the opportunity comes and I can either draft or trade for a real good franchise quarterback. Otherwise, I'm not going for anything old.
Perfect. Going to the Patriots, the last 2 games, we're going to play the Patriots at home. I think, the first game I mentioned in New England, we're going to lose that one. I think we're going to take this as a win playing the Patriots. So I do have this as a win. Rock Chalk, what do you think?
I do think we'll win this game. But, I don't know, I feel like the Patriots will be in pretty good shape, in terms of the playoffs. I think that they will probably have clinched the playoffs already, maybe even the division. So I do think that they will have some players resting. Just maybe even Brady resting. I'm not even kidding about that. So I do think that we will win this game, and we'll win by maybe 2 touchdowns because the stadium will be loud. We will be hungry for the playoffs, and I do think we'll come away with a win.
I agree with you there, but I honestly think the AFC East is going to be much tighter. It's going to come to a point where I don't think Brady's going to be able to sit down next season. I think
I hope
any team in the AFC East, I think they're going to have to play out all 17 games for them to be able to, find out who wins that AFC East, whether if it's winning it or that wild card spot. So no, I agree with you, but I really think that there's going to come down to very tight, maybe 10-6, 11-5 is going to win that division.
Yeah.
John, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna, and I totally agree with what you just said. I think it's going to be a tight division too. I'm going to have us winning this game, not by a lot. I think we eke it out, and we keep it moving.
Rock, I think you had something to say on that topic, or do you want us to move on?
Well, I don't know. I was kind of going to say, like, the reason why I think the Patriots will still be dominant is because Brady and Gronk are dominant. Gronkowski is, I think he's almost impossible to stop, Antonio Allen a few years ago did a great job on him. He didn't let up a touchdown, but he let up over 100 yards. So it's just very, very tough to cover Gronkowski. He's big. He's athletic. He's just very hard to cover. Hopefully he's banged up by then. I can't believe he didn't get hurt last year. Hopefully he's banged up by then or something. I don't know.
Something, yeah. Little dirty shove there or something. D, what do you think?
I think Jets going to win this game. And I do have New England winning the division 10-6, barely. But I kind of have to disagree with Ryan on this one. I don't think Gronkowski is as dominant as he used to be after his injuries. I don't see him as dominant as he used to be. But I mean, there's a possibility he's back to the form, and he'll be as dominant as you guys think. But I think New England's gonna lose this game, but they're still gonna win the division. unfortunately. But you know, it is what it is.
Okay. Last game of the season, everybody. We're playing the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. First game, I did take that as a win because it was at MetLife Stadium. Unfortunately, you know, I'm going to take this as a loss. You know, I think the season might come down to this game, or you know, this is really going to come down to a deciding factor in Week 17 against the Buffalo Bills. Rock Chalk, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, right now, I think that this game will be the game that they flex to the Sunday night game. Very similar to what happened a few years ago with the Jets and Bengals. Like, win and you're in. Like, they're going to make it this game like the prime time game that week, because right now there's no games. As the 8:30 game that week, they always save it and then flex it once, you know, there's more implications on the line. They know what the implications are. So I do think that all eyes will be on us. If this team has swagger and heart, we'll win this game. But right now I'm going to say loss simply because the Bills are home. But if I see a lot in the weeks before this game, especially against Dallas and New England, that we're really hungry for the playoffs, we'll win this game and make the playoffs. But right now I'm just going to say loss simply because Buffalo is a tough team and we're on the road. So
Hey,
9-7 on the year.
Just so you know, Bones NYG left you a comment saying, "You already know, go Giants." So you know he's watching right now. But
Yeah.
John, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this to us as a win. I think this is the type of game where we're hungry. You know, we get beat by. I have us losing them earlier in the season, so I think we come in, we find a way to get it done, and we steam into the playoffs. We keep it moving.
Okay, D.
Yeah, I think I take that as a loss. Jets gonna lose to the Buffalo Bills, but I'm hoping. But even with the loss, I'm hoping that the Jets gonna make it to playoffs, at least as a wild card. I really want to see this team succeed this year, especially with this new regime and all the talent that they have, especially on a defensive end. You know, so even with the loss, I think the Jets will make it to the playoffs this year.
Interesting. Yeah, I have them going as 9-7, taking a walk or spot. You know, I think just to correct myself, John, what do you have them going again?
I think I have them losing 5 or 6 games.
Bro, I think you got them going 13-3.
No, man,
No.
I mean, I don't know what John's
Hold on, let me count.
Hold on.
I heard John.
Hold on, everyone's
they
gonna-
went 15-1. The Jets gonna be like 15-1. That's
No,
the way he predicted.
no, I didn't.
You
I'm
had us
saying
losing to the Patriots, Cowboys. I forget the other ones.
Patriots, Cowboys, Bills. I had us losing to the Bills. Also, I had us losing to the Dolphins as well.
Yeah,
That's 4.
That's 4.
And I had us losing to someone else.
I think it's 12-4.
Okay, 12 and 4. Okay, 12 and 4.
Man, Bull,
I was 12 and 4.
Okay.
Well, when you look at the talent on this team, when you look at
we'll
the talent
do this
on
sometime in
team,
December again.
Okay, we will. I mean, but if we're talking about right now, and if you look at the talent on this team right now, with no one making moves, and say if no one was to get injured and everyone was just playing okay, I think that we beat a lot of those teams that we're playing. I really do.
Gotcha. Just to answer everyone's, go ahead.
Let me. One of our viewers had a question. One of our viewers, All Star, had a question for us. He is wondering if the Jets gonna keep Geno Smith or they're gonna trade him. So, what do you guys think?
John?
I don't think there's anywhere you can trade him to.
Who's going to want a bag of chips?
Yeah, I mean, we're going for a cinnamon roll.
Yeah, back to tips, but
You know what?
He's for Geno Smith.
Yeah, listen. I think that every Jet fan is really tired of not having a franchise quarterback, and I say that with the quote fingers. I think that when we look at other franchises that have like a Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, and he was playing Aaron Rodgers, you know, we think we have to have that type of quarterback. You don't have to have this big-time franchise guy to win a Super Bowl. You don't. Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl, bro. Like you can win a you can win a Super Bowl with game managers, and I think that that's what Geno can do. But again, we can also talk about Geno's history. That Geno hasn't always been put in the best situation to succeed. So can we call Geno a bust right now? No, this is only his 3rd year. You know, and he's had multiple issues with the team, from coordinators to personnel, that didn't help him out at all.
Exactly.
Those are things that you need to be a successful quarterback. Now, if you look at the cabinet is stacked right now. Chan Gailey's bringing in his offense. If Geno does not succeed here, if Geno doesn't at least become that game manager that I think he can be, then that is what it is. But we're not going to trade him for anything because no one's going to give up anything for him unless you want to, like I said, a cinnamon roll or maybe a honey bun. They might give you a honey bun for Geno Smith. But other than that, he's going to be here, and he's going to compete for the starting role. And he's also doing things to improve himself, too, that I think that people aren't talking about. Working with coaches, the quarterback coaches, and working with Brandon Marshall in the offseason and trying to acclimate himself into this new offensive scheme. So I think that people need to start looking at the work that he's doing this year and understand that he's trying his best to get better to become a better quarterback for our team.
Yep. Rock, what do you think? Anything you want to add on to that? Or?
I mean, if we don't trade him, well, we're probably not going to trade him, but and even if we don't start him, I think he's a good backup. I look at him as like a Tavares Jackson, kind of backup. But there's really nowhere to trade him, and there's really no reason to cut him or get rid of him. I mean, he's on a rookie deal, not really paying him much. So, I mean, if we don't start him, we don't start him. He's a good backup. I mean, he's got experience. But if we start him, he could be ready to take the next step, and hopefully that's the case. But for right now, there's really nowhere to trade him.
Yeah, just to kind of go on All-Stars comment with Geno Smith. Here's the thing with Geno. I don't think he's the worst quarterback. I think he's got potential. I mean, we saw that maybe against the Patriots game in New England. There's some areas where you feel like, this guy can be coached. Do I feel like he was in a bad position with a bad offensive-minded coach? Yeah, definitely. There was a lot of times where I feel like a running game could have been better. But the reason why it wasn't because Geno made some boneheaded plays and we had to play against time and we went away from the running game and yada, yada, yada. So to say he's a really bad quarterback, I don't think so. He is, not a good quarterback for sure. But he does do some plays where you just scratch your head, man. You're like, what was that? Like, some of the interceptions where he had. So we're going to try to wrap this up, guys. Again, to all the people who are viewing, thank you so much for viewing this. Thank you for leaving those comments. Hopefully I got to everyone's questions. The way I want to wrap this up is I want you to tell me who wins the division, the AFC East, and which team goes as a wild card spot. My answer is going to be the Patriots are going to win the division at 10-6 or 11-5. The New York Jets, is going to go as a wild card spot as a 9-7. I think the Buffalo Bills are going to have another mediocre year where they're going to go 8-8. The Miami Dolphins at 7-9. That's how close I'm seeing the division. Rock Chalk, what do you think?
Well, I'm going to say the Patriots win the division at 12-4 or 13-3. I'm a big fan of the Brady-Gronk combo, and of course Belichick is just a mastermind. Even with that defense, I mean, in 2011, I believe in 2011 they went 12-4. That was the year they lost to the Giants in the regular season, and then in the Super Bowl. I think they went 12-4 that year, if I'm not mistaken. So I mean, they didn't have good corners at all that year. I mean, their corners, their secondary, and their whole defense was awful. I feel like they can do the same. But I feel like right now with my Week 17 prediction, I guess the Bills getting the wild card at 9-7, 10-6, and then us going 9-7, finishing in third. But I do think the Dolphins don't look that good. I do think that they fire Joe Philbin. I don't see him as a long-term coach. So like you said, I do think they'll go 7-9 or so, and they'll fire Philbin.
Okay, good.
Hold on, before we go to John, there's a specific question for John, actually. They just sent out.
Who is it?
Jets Night New York asking John, says, who do you think will be the quarterback during that 12-4 record you're protecting?
12-4 record.
They're coming at you, John.
You know what? It's hard for me to. I would have to honestly have to see them play. But in my mind, it's probably going to be Geno. Honestly, it's probably going to be Geno. I'm not saying. Listen. I'm not saying that Geno is a world beater. I'm not totally sold on Geno, but I think he'll be. If you watch some of the things that he's done since he's been here, there have been flashes where you thought, wow, Geno could be solid in this league. Like and I'm not just talking about that Dolphins game this year, the last game of the year. I'm not even counting that because that was
Falcons game.
Yeah, the Falcons game he came out. What about earlier in the year? What about earlier in the year in that Green Bay game where we were up?
I went to that Falcons game, by the way.
Yeah, we were up in that Green Bay game earlier in the year. He played pretty decently against the Chicago Bears too. He played solidly last year in some spots where you thought, wow, Geno could possibly be turning the corner here. But again, the personnel, before we got Harvin, it was suspect. Decker was not even playing half of the year either, or most of the time. And when he was playing, you didn't even know he was on the field. There were so many issues surrounding Geno. It was like, what do you do? Yeah, what do you do with that? What do you do? Even since he's been here, there's been issues from, his receiving core to the play calling. It's a wonder. I think that Geno in this system is going to be a game manager. It might be a mix. Geno might get pulled just because he's not producing enough, and Fitzpatrick might be a starter. I don't know. But in my mind, I think that Geno's probably going to be the starter this year.
To John's point, just to John's point real fast, which quarterback has Rex Ryan actually developed? Rex Ryan hasn't been the biggest developing, mentor for any quarterback since he's been in the league. Maybe you want to say Mark Sanchez, but, I kind of want to give Mark his own credit there. But, D, what were you going to ask?
No, I was going just to mention something to our viewers and whoever is going to watch this video now or later, is that all the prediction that we are putting out there is based on just looking at the team on a paper and looking at the talent. None of us have any insight. None of us are geniuses. We are just making the prediction based on what they might draft and what the team looks like on the paper and before all the injuries happen during the preseason. So these are just predictions out there. Please don't kill young J00.
No,
he just says 12. I'm 4. He might change his mind next week and say 4 and 12. So it is what it is. It's just predictions. And like I said, 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a month from now, we might make another video, and we all might have different opinion about the games. But right now, all the prediction that we are putting out there is based on the information that we have from different sources, and ESPN and different newspapers, and the roster, and what we see from this team so far in the management. Otherwise, we are not. We don't have any insiders in the team or anything like that.
What do you mean about not having insiders? I got Todd Bowles blowing up my phone as we speak.
Yeah. And that's what I was gonna say after I said what I said. It's like, listen, this is just, again, I know this is YouTube, and people don't always listen all the way to what you're trying to say. This is just looking at teams from last year, just being asked about, hey, what do you think how do you think you'd be able to win this game, that game, this game? So this is before the injuries, this is before the draft, this is before any other moves that could be possibly made as well in the preseason, because big trades could still be swung, draft day. So that's just kind of how I look at it.
So who's going to win the AFC East, and who's going to take that wildcard spot if there is one?
I have the Patriots winning the AFC East. I think there will be. I think there will be in second. I think the Bills will be closely behind us. But I think the Dolphins are done. I think Phil would end up getting fired, and that's that.
Okay, guys. We're gonna try to wrap this up. I really want to thank all of our viewers / subscribers. Thank you for watching Knicks Bros TV. Again, my brother and I just have a blast doing this. Both of us are really interested in New York sports. I love the fact that I can have maybe young J00, Rock Chalk to the Grave on my show, and just be able to discuss the team that I truly love and grew up loving. So right off the bat, please comment, subscribe, and share. Rock Chalk, I want to go ahead and thank you for coming on. Same thing with young J00. If you guys got anything else to say, I definitely want to be able to wrap this up. So if you guys want to just maybe plug in your channels here or there, that'll be great. Rock Chalk, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't have anything else left to say. I guess just subscribe to my channel, Rock Chalk to the Grave. Twitter, you can find me at KUFan from NJ. That's basically it. Just thank you guys for watching, and thank you guys at Knicks Bros TV for having me on the show.
Yeah, no problem. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, again, I want to thank you guys for having me on the show. I also want to thank everyone that watches, everyone that comments, everyone that was definitely interested in the show and took the time out to watch it. As you know, I run like I said, a podcast called Let's Talk Jets. You can follow us at Let's Talk Jets at Twitter. You can also follow me at YoungJ000. That's 3 zeros on Twitter. You can also please watch, comment, subscribe to my channel at YoungJ00. And also you can follow me on Facebook as well as Long Beach Joe. Go ahead and look that up, Long Beach Joe, and follow me on there too, and listen to the content that we provide. And everyone's welcome, man. Go Jets.
Go Jets. D?
Definitely wants to thank our subscriber, whoever watched it today. I really want to quickly go through these guys. Night of the Shield. We have Jets Night New York, Bones NYG, All Star, Sport Talk HD, Philly Sports 2000, Antonio Lanny. Thank you for watching. Definitely share our videos. Subscribe to these guys. These guys have great videos. Share their videos. Definitely, comment and subscribe to them. And we also are putting out a open invitation for whoever wants to be on our channel. You are welcome. If you have good material, please come on, and you are welcome to our channel. We can bring on more people and talk about New York sports, talk about the Jets, talk about the Mets, Rangers, Yankees, whoever you guys are interested in. We will bring in good material to the table, and we make sure that everybody else bring good material. Again, thank you for watching. You guys have been great. Appreciate it.